Welcome everybody to second session with Michael Stoffregen from Showstopper Sequences. We are going to talk about custom xLights models. With that, Michael, you may continue.
Okay, thank you. Next thing I want to show you is a great tool that David Peace has made available to us at Light Show Hub. And I'm going to show you some different things to do that will kind of take your model making to the next level, truthfully. And let me show you, let me share some screens here. I'm just going to share that one because I need to get to a different place. Let me share that. Okay, I like to use MidJourney, and what I did was I went to MidJourney and I asked it to give me an elaborate snowflake with 6 arms. Of course, it gave me 8 arms because, you know, artificial intelligence can't actually count. But it was a pretty little snowflake. So I went ahead and saved that. And after I saved it, I went and removed the background. Let me stop the share there. And when I removed the background, then I brought it into a program that I like to use to do some of this stuff. It's Corel Graphics. And I'm going to just X out of there. And I'll show you how you can prepare an image that will make it a lot easier to use over at Light Show Hub. Let me show you why I'm doing this, though. Let me get into. Okay, the program that I'm going to show you to help you build your models, it's called, it's at www.lightshowhub. And I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to share my screen so you can see that. Okay, this is the basic layout of Light Show Hub. And you can use your Google ID to register with it. But let me show you how this works. Okay, you've got a canvas. And okay, if I go in and I browse, it's going to take me back to my PC. And I'm going to load up that image. I took the background out of it. But I'm going to load up that snowflake. And I can come over here on the right, and there's tabs across the top here. Let me check the grid. Okay, that's a pretty fine grid. I think that will be fine. You know, around 10, 12, somewhere in there. Put it at 10 on the number of pixels on the grid. And then you can come over here and you can add nodes. And you've got to figure out, okay, where do I want them to start? And you can figure out, okay, I'm going to start in the center. Let me zoom in so you can see what it does. Okay, I'm going to reposition it so it's close to the center as I can get. And then you can, okay, I am just going to create these arms. And you can figure out what you want to do. And just by clicking, it's going to add the pixels in. Now, for the most part, you can use images if they're nice and static and geometric. You can use those images and you can get a pretty decent representation of the model. Now, one of the problems with an image like this, if you look at the flourishes here, they are, and by flourishes, I mean the edges, the fancy parts of the snowflake. There's some general consistency, but every arm is a little bit different. So when you start going out and figuring out where you want to put pixels, when you're doing it directly on the image like this, you can end up with not so great of a model. All right, so what I recommend you do is, and let me stop that share, get back over to where I was before. Go back in here. All right, so what I recommend you do, and I'm going to start with a blank one, is that you bring in the image that you want to use. It's nice and big, but too big. Okay, I'm going to get it positioned there. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here to my objects, and I'm going to lock that. And I'm going to lock it because I'm going to start putting some things over it, and I don't want it to move. I don't want it to be manipulated, that sort of thing. All right, so I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to put in a 2-point line. And I'm going to start at the top here. And I'm going to take it down to the bottom. Okay, a little hard to see, so I'm going to change the color on that and the size. I'm going to change that to red. And I'm going to change the size to, let's do 2 points. Now I can see it. Okay, so that's my first line. Now what I'm going to do is I want to copy that to go all the way around. So I'm just going to hit Control C, Control V. Now I'm doing this in Corel Draw. There are lots of drawing programs that will do this for you. One that's really good is Inkscape. It's a free program, does all sorts of things. Okay, now that I have copied that, I'm going to come over to the transform, and I'm going to rotate it. And I'm going to rotate it so that I have it's not letting me do what I want to do. There it is. Okay, I'm going to rotate that 45 degrees. Now, why 45? Well, because there's 8 arms, and we're talking 360 degrees in a circle. So take 360 divided by 8, and it's going to give you 45. So I'm going to apply that. Took my first one. Okay, I'm gonna keep applying that. Again, I'm just copying each arm and rotating it 45 degrees. All right, so now you'll see that the drawing by MidJourney, not 100%, I guess geometrically perfect. This arm over here is a little off. This one's a little off. This one's a little off. This one's a little off. But it doesn't matter because the only thing I'm going to pay attention to is one of them. All right, so let me go over here to my objects. And now that I've got those curves on there, those lines rather, I'm going to highlight those. And I'm going to lock those as well. So now both images are locked. And so I'm going to come in here and add some circles that will be markers for me. And again, they're hard to see if it's just a black, so I'm going to change it to red. Okay, I need that to be a little smaller. All right, and I can tell it's lined up because you see the black squares here. They line up with the red lines. So I know it's lined up where I need it to be. Again, I want to make it just a little smaller because I want it about the size of that inner flower. Okay, that's pretty close. Now I'm just going to copy that one and make a bigger one for the next grouping, which is about there. Let me copy that one and paste it. Okay, I need that to be a little bigger. Okay, that's good enough there. And now I'm going to take those circles and I'm going to lock those. Now the reason why I did that, because now I got like a background. This is something that I can work with. I don't have to worry about it moving or getting out of a line or anything like that. Looks like we got one that's not locked. Yeah, it's locked. Okay. All right. So let me switch over here. I'd made this previously. Let you look at it. And the only thing difference is I went in and I created a small little circle here, and that's my first pixel, is that one right there. And I'm going to place that at the center. If you wanted to start at the end, you could start down here at the bottom. It's just a personal choice, kind of where you want it to be. But and then what I'll do is I will hit Control C and then Control V, copy it, and then I'll move that pixel to the next position. I'll do Control C, Control V, and then move that next one over. Okay, and I will continue to do that until I've got one arm complete. And okay, so you can see there that I've got one complete arm. I put all the pixels where I wanted them to be. And then what I want to do is I want to take those, I'm gonna highlight them, and I'm going to group them. For me, it's just Control G creates a group. So now I've got a group of pixels. And like I did with these other arms, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. I'm going to copy it and then rotate it 45 degrees. So I hit Control C, Control V, and rotate it. You'll notice it's a little different because it keeps the axis the same. So I've got to take it from here and line it up with my endpoint. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing. Control C, Control V, rotate it 45 degrees. Take that endpoint down to that endpoint. Control C, copy, paste, rotate it 45 degrees. Line it up at the endpoint. Okay, and I do that all the way around. Oops. Okay, so now I've got my entire snowflake that I just went through. Got my entire snowflake completely done. Let me get to the objects here. I might have an extra one or two. Yeah, this one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where's my duplicate? Right here. Okay, now we've got our 8 arms. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lock those. And unlock my guides. Because I'm going to take all my guides here. And delete them. And now I've got my basic model. So I'll export that as a PNG and show you what it would look like. Okay, it essentially looks like this right here. The snowflake, the pixels only. Open that with GIMP, just so you can see it after it's exported. that share, new share. Okay, this is what it looks like after it's been exported. Just a series of pixel representations. Okay, that's the image that I want to use in Lightshow Hub. So let me get back to Lightshow Hub. All right, so I'm going to remove the background image that's there. I'm going to take that, delete that. Okay, so now it's going to be a whole lot easier when I come in and start adding pixels to figure out exactly what I want to do. Because I need to be thinking of, okay, I don't want to go more than 3 inches between pixels if I can avoid it. I know they say it's 4 inches between there, but at best it's 3 3/4. I think on most pixels because they estimate. One of the nice things you could do with Lightshow Hub is it will allow you to pick 2 pixels and enter in the distance between them, if you know what that is, and it will highlight the gap in pink when it's too long. So that's a nice feature of it. All right, so if we went in and we added everything, I did this ahead of time because it takes a while. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the background image. I'm going to delete that for right now. I'll show you what it finally ends up looking like. All right, so that's what it ended up looking like when I had all the pixels entered into it. Let me see. In this one there's 536 pixels in that. So obviously that'd be a pretty big size snowflake that I put together. All right, so when you get done, you go up here to File. You can export the X model, and then let me stop this share. I'm going to change this over to all right, what I did was I went and I took that xLight model and imported it into xLights. And as you can see, that's a pretty decent looking snowflake. And again, I just started with an image from MidJourney, kind of made it something standardized, and then went in there. Now, I'm going to just stop here for right now and take any questions anybody has.
If you have a question, you can just unmute and ask your question.
Michael, does Lightshow Hub figure out the wiring diagram for you? Is that
Well, once it's in here, you get the wiring diagram.
okay? So xLights is automatically doing that.
Yeah. Once it's in here, see if I go to the wiring view. There it is.
Okay, and that's based on where you start the number 1 pixel, or how does it?
Yes, because I started right here at 1, then it goes to 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5. See, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then, but when it got too much distance between the posts, then I had to go a different route. I couldn't do circular all the way because you get farther and farther between
Sure.
pixels as you go out.
But xLights figured that out, not you.
Well, I did it. Then xLights took that data and made the wiring diagram.
Okay.
Because what you're looking at here is the reverse of what you saw at Light Show Hub.
Right.
That's all it is.
But it does matter where you start with one and then where you put two and three.
Yeah, because you're actually at Light Show Hub, you're actually creating the model.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will matter.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? All right, so now that we've done that and we've created that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the creative process on you know, now that you've created the model and creating some submodels. Okay, this is, you know, to me this is kind of a what mid elaborate you know, snowflake. But to give you some idea of, you know, just looking at it, what I would come up with submodels. And the submodels, you know, you go into the submodel subdirectory and you can add it, and then you start selecting pixels, you know, to create a submodel. For example, let me see, we won't use one, but let me find. All right, we'll start there. Okay, that's a submodel. That's the, you know, small circle. Add another one. And let's see where that'd be. Guess it really doesn't matter, but we'll. Okay, that one we'll call the, you know, medium circle. Okay, now out here, we can come out here and you can always sort that, by the way, because I just started wherever. We can add another one, and we'll just start here. Okay, I'm doing the real obvious ones. Oops. Basically, I'm just, for those of you who haven't done it, I'm just dragging the mouse over the pixel, and you can see it light up. To remove a pixel, say if I got one that I didn't want, you hold down the Shift key and glide it over it, and it will erase it or take it out of the list. Okay, I'm going to call that one a flower. And I'm going to sort that row. All right, and give you some idea of some of the things that you could do, okay? Out here on the end, and I'm just going to add some, okay, I could take this whole thing here and make that the end. And, do that all the way around and create, one called end. I can create tips and varying lengths of tips. I could create a series of V's that go from the center out. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those could also be submodels. I could create small spinners, big spinners. I got the big spinners going all the way out. I got spinners that I would take out to the tips or the ends. There's a series of hearts in here. There's a heart here, heart there, a heart here, heart there, the other side of the heart there. So you could create hearts. There are several areas where you have some neat clusters, like right here. You could turn those on to flash a different color if they're a submodel. Really, when you talk about submodels, really you're talking about just, how far can your imagination go? And when you get done with all your submodels, the only thing that you want to make sure is that, just like you've got when you do your master view on your house, you typically you'll put the larger groups and larger props up top, and then the smaller ones down at the bottom. Well, the same rule applies with submodels. Put the big ones at the top, smaller ones at the bottom. And the reason why is because then, because of the way the render order works with the data layers in the models, if you've got something like this little thing right here, and it's at the bottom, it can highlight the entire, it can be going on while the entire prop is going on itself. Okay, again, any questions about the process of creating submodels? Again, for me, it's just a creative process. I actually enjoy it. It's relaxing. I'll just sit there and just kind of let it's like looking at clouds for me. I'll sit there and we'll just, look at the prop and see what I can find in that prop itself. Okay, any questions thus far?
Yes. Hi, this is Sina again. So you created the submodel. What's next in terms of importing into xLights, or is that the next part of your presentation?
Well, it is in xLights.
Okay.
In other words, you can import that into your layout. I just put it in a blank layout.
Mm-hmm.
But any layout you have, you can import that just like any other file. Even though you created it, it's just as valid. It'll import right in. And again, I'll go over that for you. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to cancel.
Yeah, I think he froze.
I think you lost power again.
I think we might have lost them again for a moment there. We'll give them a second.
But I think I caught the gist of it. Once I save it,
Once you save it, the
put a layout.
submodels are part of the model. Once you click that OK, those submodels stay with that model.
Okay.
Then
and then I
you just save
import it
that
into the
model
layout.
in a folder called models or whichever you'd like.
Mhm.
And you can import it, and the submodels will stay and come with it anytime you import it from your folder where you keep your specific models.
Okay.
But yes, we
And
did lose him. He just disappeared. But go ahead.
Sina, I was also going to say another cool thing is you could take someone else's prop
Mhm.
and build your own submodel in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm thinking of the Star Trek our Star Trek show, every last prop is custom. So
Right.
so I got a warp core, I got a bird of prey, I got the Enterprise, and the Star Trek sign, I had the Star Trek emblem. Like, so I'm trying to
So I'll do the shameless promotion for the Showstopper props.
Yeah.
The Showstopper mini trees have
Mhm.
Star Wars characters built in as submodels.
Star Wars or Star Trek.
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
Okay, so
But
my
that
dad,
But
doesn't mean, yeah, that doesn't mean you couldn't build a Star Trek character.
yeah,
okay,
they're
yeah.
very dense, nice little trees, and you can make your own modeled after the states, that he did use them as examples. And there's they have a bunch of probably even the Showstopper spinner. The
Mhm.
amount of
Yes.
because it's a very dense one, the amount of submodels you can make. You want to do your Star Trek, the badge, the shoulder badge logo.
Mhm.
You could do that and have it spin around the prop in there. You just have to use a little imagination, kind of look between the dots and
Okay.
see what's in there.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. But yeah, yeah. So our house is it's a long story, but remember my folks are in their 80s. They are diehard Star Trek fans from the original series. So I got Captain Uhura as my mom, Captain Kirk as my dad. This is what they
Mm,
want. And we're now 10 years running, and we're blessed. The community just loves it.
very nice, very
But I'll look into it. But yeah, if you want to
nice.
start Star Trek themed props, I will be your first customer.
Yeah, I'll let them know.
Danny, I jumped back in.
Oh,
Michael
there you
told
are.
me,
Yeah, yeah, he lost it again.
yeah, he said the power come back on, so hopefully he can come back in pretty quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he did ended it at a nice point to end it if we had to.
Okay. Yeah,
And
no.
Cena Jackie's your guy to build props for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you need custom. There she got
What did I walk into? Because
custom Star Trek prop, Star Trek themed props.
wait a second. So which Star Trek are we talking about? Because it does make a difference.
Okay, so true. And that's where Home Depot dad and I argue. He wants to go with the original series. I kind of go with whatever I can find Star Trek. So I would say it's a mix of the original from the 60s, Star Trek Voyager, and then the new series that are coming out because that's what the kids know in the neighborhood.
You lost me at Voyager. Sorry. The next generation I would have accepted, but oh.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's my fault. That's my fault. My dad would agree with you. That's my fault. You Star Trek fans, yeah, you're hardcore. I mean, I think if it's all Star Trek, it works, but apparently not.
There's some lesser. So where are we, Andy? As far as
He made the custom prop. He showed us all how to make submodels on the prop. He was going to show Cena how to import that from a folder into your show once you have your custom model saved. And that's where we ended. But it's just, and I was telling Cena, it's just the same way as importing any model. You just do it from the folder on your computer rather than downloading.
yeah. So I will share my screen. And if Michael jumps back in, just let me know.
Okay.
So I've got a little bit of a play around layout here, but once you create your model and export it out of say Light Show Hub or whatever, what you'll do is you'll have it on your computer, and most of the time it lands in your downloads folder. So you click on import once, drag in here, and then you would go to the new model. I'm not showing y'all anything you're not supposed to know. Anyway, so you would click on the model that you want to see and you would bring it in. And if you have aliases, this case, this one don't. This is just a small 14-foot candy cane. All right. So you would bring it in here. One of the things that I always do with my stuff after I bring it into here is I will go in and especially if you're doing 3D, 2D is still the same, but you have to go in and create a ruler for this operation, but you have a dimension here. So you can create a dimension and you give it the size that you want. And then once you save it, anytime if you right click and you can export the xLights model, that dimension stays with it. So anybody with a ruler or 3D that's set up, that dimension will come with it. So that's something to consider as well. If you download,
Mike, this is Cena again. I have a question now.
Yeah.
So again, so I don't know if you guys know me. Only child. My dad is my rock. He went through some health issues. This is my thing for him. And he always loved trains. So I actually built him a train, a rideable train. So are you saying once I can get the dimensions of the train, because I'm putting xLights into it?
yeah, if you have a rideable train that has the lights on it, right? So let's just for now, let's just pretend that this is your train, okay? And you come over here, you go to the dimensions, and you set that up right here. So you tell it just how big it is, and once you hit save, those dimensions will stay with that. Now, to do that, the first thing you have to do is you have to go into 3D, okay? And you notice that nothing here is set up for 3D, right? I'm not really worried about the 3D area. What I am going to do is go to 3D objects and take a look, but you would add an OBJ. Now, I already have it here, so it's not going to be there, but you would have the ruler option. Once you bring in a ruler, you just set the distance. I like to use inches because it's pretty accurate. You know, don't use feet, don't use, other things. If you're a millimeter person, that's absolutely fine, but don't use meters or feet. The more accuracy comes with these shorter spaces. I'm American, so I like to use inches, even though I do recognize that millimeters is far superior, but I'm just comfortable with inches. So like, for instance, this one here, I know it's 14.5 foot tall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and tell it how tall it is through the dimensions and get it set up. This is a one-dimensional prop or two-dimensional, up and left and right, but there's no depth to it. And since there's no depth to it, I'm going to put a 1 here. And so when I save it, export it, and what you'll see is I'm going to go ahead and export the xLights model. I'm going to put it in downloads. I'll hit save. All right. And now what I'll do is click import, and I'm just going to draw a small box right here, right? Really, really small. And I'm going to bring that one back in, hit OK. When you see it's small, but watch what happens whenever it finally comes in completely.
Jackie
It
Michaels.
comes in the same size. So there you go. That's how you would bring it in for a second time. But
Okay.
Michael is back.
For a while. We are like, if you look at the storm, we're like right in the orange and red right now, and we have been for almost an hour. It's kind of bad, but I apologize. So I guess Sina, did Jackie answer your question for you?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
awesome.
And then we started talking about trains, and I got that answer too. So I'm good.
All right, okay.
basically, our train of thought left. No, I'm just kidding. Bad day.
Yep. Okay. Andy, when you get a chance, let me share screen again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every time I get dumped out.
Yep.
Gotta start
There
from
you go.
scratch. All right, thank you, sir. Okay. Let me get over here. Share that one. Okay, get back to the my basic layout there.
And Michael, just to let you know, we have about 5 minutes or so before.
Okay. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. It'll work out. Anyway, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm trying to get my train of thought. I've been scrambling here trying to get things plugged back in and get everything going, and I apologize for that. Let me stop this share. I want to share something else with you. Okay. Like I said, one of the things that I really love doing is doing custom models, and that's one of the things that always attracted me to that, to the hobby and doing models and things like that. Pretty excited. We got a new model coming out next week. I'm going to release it here in our Halloween layout. Let me get this. I'm going to mute my sound so that it does not cause any problems with copyright when this gets posted to YouTube. But Jackie and I put together another prop, and like I said, we're going to be releasing it, but I kind of want to show you some neat things that it will do. I'll use these three over here, so you kind of see those three right there. And I'll just play some of this. Like I said, I can't do the sound.
If you're sharing your whole house is not showing, Michael. We're just seeing the
Okay, let
bar.
me get it back over here and see if that will do it.
There you go.
Did it show up?
It did. Now it's gone. You stopped your share.
Yeah, Zoom always confuses me. Okay,
There you go.
yeah, let me restart that so you can see. All right, you can see those arches do some stuff that other arches probably won't be doing. Let me zoom over. What it does, it's really kind of neat, is it's got some shapes that are built in that you typically don't see. Even does fireworks. And the point in doing this one, of course, I want to show you that ahead of time. But the other point I want to make is that the process I showed you with the snowflake is the process that I went through before I presented a model to Jackie. Then Jackie does his magic and puts things together and makes it hum and blink for us. But anyway, so same process. You set up your guides and you determine what your shapes are, and you just build it, and that's all you got to do. But that's the last thing I wanted to share with you, is because it's something new that we've got coming out. If you build your own models, just get you a good drawing program where you can manipulate things and learn to make them as professional as you can, I guess is what it boils down to, because the tools are available to do that if you want to. All right, with that, again, I apologize, I'm a little rattled, but I'm going to take any last second questions and call it a day before I get electrocuted.
Any questions you can unmute and ask?
I just have a quick question about strips versus pixels. Any advice?
You know, I have never used strips, just what I've read. And, you know, a lot of people have had good success with them. And a lot of people say, you know, make sure you know how to solder. You know, if you're going to use strips, make sure you're good at soldering, because you're probably going to have to at some point. But that's about the only advice I can give you, and that's based on other people, not me. You know, it's just what I've read is that you know, if they're handled well, they're not roughed up, and you know they're not exposed to too much, they'll work just fine. But you know, if you've got to repair them, you got to know how to solder.
Right, because if the pixels eventually fail on a strip, you've got to cut it out and solder in replacements, right?
Right.
Which also brings you to the point that you don't want to put them inside of things that you can't easily deconstruct to get to them.
Right, so not in a plastic tube, because you got to cut the whole thing apart to get
Well, I
it.
mean, you know, if you can slide them in and out of that tube like an arch or something, you can easily access them. That's fine. But, you know, you don't want to put them in behind something that you got to seal away. You know?
Right.
I always think of in terms of point of failure, because my experience has been that the point of failure will be on the coldest day at the highest point.
That's
So,
probably true.
yeah. So I try to keep my points of failure as close to the ground as I can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that goes into my next question. I have the same exact issue. So I am actually looking into seed pixels. So I don't know, have you tried using seed pixels?
I have looked at it. I don't have time because I'm implementing moving heads this year, so I don't have time to do it. But I'm thinking about replacing my roof matrix, which is these big 4x8 PVC panels. I want to replace them with the seed pixels, because what I'd like to be able to do is put them up there on a reel and just reel it open, reel it down,
Right.
and secure it at the bottom. Because I've got a 10-12 pitch on my roof,
Mhm.
and you know, I mean, I always put my roof up last in case I die, so Diana can still have a show. I mean, it's just dangerous up there. It really is. So I hate it. So I'd like to find a way to make it as easy as possible. It looks like the seed pixels would be a good option. I know Meadows has some that have.
We're thinking about doing, or not we, but I am, because I'm the same way. My dad's 85, so I'm putting up the show. We're gonna do a matrix on the roof, and I'm like, okay, well let's try out these seed pixels, because I can roll it out,
Right.
tack it. Hopefully, you know, with the weather it will work. But I hear with the seed pixels, like if one pixel goes out, it doesn't shut out the rest. Like it
If
doesn't.
they're the 4-wire, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The other thing that you can look at is, you know, providing them a good support, aircraft wire.
Mhm.
You know, I know Mattos has some that he sells, and probably other people that actually have the aircraft wire built into them to provide the support. That way you could actually use it as you know, on a mega tree without strips.
There's another question in chat. What size are your 2 mega trees in your show?
Okay, the one on the left, the high density one, is 32 by 160, 180. And the one on the right is a 16 by 50. And
Is that feet?
pardon me? No, pixels, strands by number of pixels. So 16 strands by 50 pixels. In terms of height, the one on the left, because I've got it up about a foot off the ground, it's probably 17 feet, maybe a little higher. The one on the right is probably about 11 feet tall.
Okay, I think with that, are we good, Michael?
I'm good if you guys are.
All right, I'd just like to thank you all for coming to VCS 24. And with that, Michael, thank you very much. And Jackie,
Thank you,
thank you for
Andy,
stepping in.
Jackie, thank you.